Well, we're finally here, the start of the regular season, non-conference schedule that we strategically assembled with all of these unbelievable teams that we're going to be playing in the non-conference, and it starts with Memphis, and a team that's coached by a legend in Tubby Smith. He's been around the block. He's been pretty much successful everywhere he's going. He's familiar, obviously, with the SEC and the teams and the style of play in the SEC. So I know he's going to have them prepared and ready to go. We're also excited about this Naval Academy experience. You know, obviously, I played with David Robinson, and he's a graduate of the Naval Academy, and having an opportunity to spend some time with the midshipmen and their coaching staffs and the staffs from other teams and all of the fun things that they have planned. I haven't looked exactly at the itinerary, but I know they have some fun things planned for us on tomorrow. So really excited about embarking on this trip. Because of the nature of this game, we're leaving a day early, you know, like Pittsburgh and Memphis and all of the things that they have planned for us tomorrow in terms of itinerary. And hopefully we'll be able to get up there and have a good practice and be focused on what we need to do. But again, you know, the regular season is here. Obviously, you guys have already been updated. There's no changes in terms of an injury standpoint. Riley, Norris, and Armand Davis is still out. Obviously, Braxton, his surgery was a success, so he'll be out for a little while. And we hope to get him back as safe and as soon as possible.
Avery, do you have any new updates on Colin, and or do you think he will be eligible to play by Friday?
No new updates. When I have one, I'll update you guys.
Will he travel with the team?
No new updates.
Back row, Scott.
Hey, Avery, Lenny told me he was real complimentary of A.J. Jr., and with Colin out and not knowing how key he will be. I just wonder about your balance, because I know he calls you coach and all that stuff on the floor, but he's still your son. So just talk about the balance of that as he's going to be key to this team. Even if Colin's back, he is, but even more so now.
Well, that's a great question. Yeah, I'm a lot more comfortable coaching him this year than I was sitting here this time last year, because it was all new territory, whether it's on the AAU circuit when I was out of coaching, or at high school level, or pee-wee baseball, or whatever it was. I never coached AJ. So it was pretty stressful. And sure, we still have a lot of moments because he's not quite where I want him to be, especially on both ends of the floor. He's still growing and developing. Even though he's a redshirt junior, you know, he didn't play his first year that much in college. He redshirted, and last year he was a, you know, pretty good role player for us. But I think finding the right matchups for him, putting him in the positions like the rest of our team where he can be successful, that's going to be key. But I think the main thing for him is I'm waiting for him to grow up in the area of leadership. You know, he needs to show more leadership, even if he's not in the game.
Did you have any reaction to the ESPN story that came out last night that talked about Colin Sexton?
Not at all. No reaction.
When you were preparing for the season, you were obviously thinking 10, 11 guys in rotation. Now you're moving forward with 7, 8 guys. How is that going to change game plan moving forward? You
know, last year, if you go back and look at SMU, at the end of their season, middle to the end of their season, they had a 6-man rotation. My old coach, Ben Jobe, he said you only need 6 or 7. So fortunately, we have 6 or 7, and we think we're in pretty good physical shape. So, you know, all hands on deck, whomever's available to play in that game on Friday, they're going to play hard, and they're going to do a good job at representing their families and the university on the court, and hopefully we'll be successful. But it won't be because of a lack of effort. We still have a lot of versatility. We feel we have quality depth. There's not one guy that we are concerned about putting in the game. whether he's a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, it doesn't matter. We feel, we'll be able to survive. And if we stub our toe a little bit, that's a part of the game. That's a part of the nature of the business in college basketball, and we'll just have to bounce back. But again, today, practice, tomorrow, practice, shoot around on Friday, and figure out how we can play to our strengths and, force Memphis to play to their weaknesses.
Two questions. How has not knowing Colin's status moving forward affected practice, preparation? How involved is he in that?
Well, I just think the main thing, Alex, is I come from an environment where you play over 100 games a year. And if you're playing 100 games a year, whether that's preseason, regular season, and playoffs, you don't know guys' status sometime. And guys get injured or whatever the case may be. A guy may have to miss a game on the NBA level for personal reasons. You just never know. So you have to adjust. So this doesn't really faze us in terms of preparation. As a staff, we just do what we have to do, and we try to make the necessary adjustments and plan. 2 weeks ago, we weren't planning to not have Braxton, but when we played the exhibition game, we didn't have him, so we're just moving forward.
And the players, and you spoke about it after the game, and clearly not having some of those guys that they were counting on affected them on the court. Players even said today, it affects them a little bit mentally. What are you doing to kind of get the team mentally prepared to play or not play? I mean, it's uncertainty that affects the kids.
I think the main thing is let's control what we can control. One of the things we can control going 3 for 21 from the three-point line. We can control better transition defense, sprinting back in transition, communicating. We can control rebounding, especially on the defensive end, and everybody knowing what play we're in so we can get into the play as fast as possible so we can have a quality amount of time to execute, and that's what we can control. We're about to have a video session to get ready for practice, and everybody staying alert in that video session and knowing what we're doing when we go out on the practice court. Those are the things we can control, and that's what we're preaching.
Let's try this again.
Tony, it's always something with you at these press conferences.
Is it?
Things haven't changed, even though it's a new year.
All right.
Go ahead.
Well,
But I like your haircut.
thank you. I appreciate it. Memphis is a team that likes to run down the court. We saw a little bit of Hall and Giddens both play together. Is that something you're looking to exploit against Memphis? Maybe force them into more of a half-court game?
Yeah, that's a great question. And Jeremiah Martin, who's experienced, their point guard, lefty, crafty, he can get the ball up and down the floor. He's a threat on defense. He's a steal guy. He gets a lot of steals and gets them in the open court. And they're big guys inside. When you talk about Parks and Davenport, those guys are load. They're 200 and one guy's 260 pounds, and they bring another guy off the bench that's 265 pounds. So they have some big guys inside, and we're going to have to match their energy. And the way that we match it is you're probably going to see some opportunities for us to play two of our big guys together, whether that's Daniel and Dante, whether it's Dante and Galen Smith, or Alex Reese and Daniel. So we may be in situations like that, or we may go small. We'll just get a feel for it throughout the game.
Coach, you mentioned shooting 3 for 21 against UAH, and you've probably gone back and looked at some video. Good shots, bad shots, wrong guys taking shots, tough night. What was the reason you saw?
Well, I just think it was bad decision making. There were times we got a favorable matchup and we bailed the defense out by taking a contested three instead of trying to drive a little bit more and open up some easier threes on the backside. Just to answer your question, too many contested threes. Now, we can make contested threes if there's a little bit of a window there, but there were too much in our space. So I would say, in putting a number on it, I thought 10 of our threes weren't very good.
I was just just wondering what you thought of y'all's trap the other night. Is that something you feel more comfortable doing this year with the personnel that you have?
Yeah, we were in position to have some really good traps, but we just didn't execute it. We let them out of some of our traps, and we have to do a better job of, taking up space without fouling, too many silly fouls. But that's the growing pains of this team. And even though we have some super freshmen, a lot of our super freshmen, this is going to be their first real college basketball game. So when they make a mistake, whether it's not executing a trap properly or returning players, if we don't space the floor the way we need to space the floor, we just have to move on to the next play. I thought we allowed some of our lack of offense early in the game to just dictate how we were going to play on the defensive end, which definitely showed up in our lack of executing some of our traps.
Do you have a rough timetable when you think that Braxton can come back from this injury?
Rough timetable. I would say it's safe to say we're hopeful, 4 weeks based on what, we've heard from the doctor.
And then with him and Raleigh out, how did you see Herb kind of step up into that role as a wing player in this last game, and how do you expect him to kind of handle that job?
Well, Herb's been very competitive on the defensive end. He can guard multiple positions. I thought when we started the second half and we went a little bit bigger and we had Herb and Daniel more at the forward spot along with Dante in the middle, I thought that helped us out a lot in terms of maybe moving Herb around a little bit more. Offensively, the kid can really play in terms of making decisions. And sure, we had a couple of passes that got away from him, but he'll learn that with experience. But you're talking about a very, very intelligent player. We don't talk enough about the players that are intelligent, that have high basketball IQs. We just don't talk about it enough, and he's one of those players.
Memphis only returns 2 guys from last year. They brought in a ton of new JUCO guys, ton of new freshmen. I know every season opener it's difficult to scout given that nobody's played, but is this one more difficult to scout given that they only return, 2 guys from last year?
Well, you try to go back and, obviously look at their exhibition game, look at their whole entire overall style of play. But, man, you try to pull as much video as you can, If we find a video of one of these kids playing in AAU or, on the JUCO circuit, you just try to pull whatever you can to help. And with all of the technology, there's a lot of information online.
Coach, today's signing day, and I know you're waiting on paperwork before you can comment on kids, but in general, is it going out there as sort of as you expected today?
Yeah, we're very pleased, Cecil. Very pleased, and you're right. Next time I talk to you guys, we're going to have all of that paperwork complete. But in terms of what our goals were, Cecil, for 2018, knowing the guys that are graduating, obviously, in the spring, we may have some guys that potentially can get involved at the next level. So in terms of planning for all of that, with the known the information that's known to us, which guys are graduating, and the unknown of guys who you don't know going to put their name in the hat for the draft, we think we've protected ourselves in a lot of ways based on the players that we're going to have a part of this 2018 class.
The transition coming from high school is just being the speed and the strength. Me working with Coach Lou in the weight room, getting stronger, and me just picking up the pace from the guys out, from the returning guys out on the court, just how fast it is. And I feel like I've done a pretty good job so far. I mean, still getting better at it, so only thing, just keep getting better.
For all three of y'all, how much is the uncertainty with, Colin's situation and then, Braxton going down and having the other seniors on this team not really practicing much? How much is that affecting this team right now?
It affects us a lot. We're all one. Braxton going down, that's big for us because he provides a lot of scoring for us as well as the players on the court. And Colin going down, that's just a day-to-day thing with him. So we're unaware of that situation.
like they said, those guys bring a lot to the team. We contribute with them a lot, so I mean it hurts us a lot, but we just contain and keep our heads up, just to keep pushing until they get back.
Just piggybacking on what they're saying, Colin's our brother, Braxton's our brother, so we just got to pick up where they left off. And Colin is day to day, just like Dazon said, and Braxton will be back in no time.
Being part of this recruiting class that was so highly touted, does it add a pressure at all that you guys have to live up to that ranking, that this was a team, the class that was going to take this program to the next level?
Not really. We knew we had a bunch of great veterans coming in. Returning. So that took a lot of pressure out. We all is one, like they said. So we depend on each other, and I feel like we got each other back.
For Dazon, are you guys practicing as if you're gonna? Are you guys practicing as if you're gonna have Colin on Friday? Or are you practicing as if you're not gonna have him? How has practice been since that news came out that it's uncertain if he'll play?
We only had one practice, and that was a walkthrough this morning. So yeah, we go through it as if he's gonna play with us, which we hope he will. So we got to practice later today. So I'm sure we're gonna go through it as if he's playing Friday.
It's for John. Just from your point of view, how has the freshman class, the 5 freshmen, gelled with some of the veterans like Dazon?
We've came together and we've been clicking very well. It's only just to get better, but so far we've been doing pretty good together. We still learning each other, but that'll come as far as the season goes. But so far we've done a great job.
Daniel, you were kind of a new guy here, but you're an older guy. Is it uncomfortable for you to get a leadership role going, or is that a kind of a natural thing for your personality?
I just really try to help the team as best as I can in any way I can. If that's being a leader or just being a person on the team that does his role and does his job. But in the day, I try to be a great teammate, and that's the only person I know how to be. Just be a good teammate.
Any other questions? We got time for a couple more. Starting here with Alex on the left. For Daniel and John, what's that? You talked about kind of getting used to one another as teammates and stuff. What's that transition like since the summer? You're coming in, and you've been here obviously a full year, but just getting to know one another and the chemistry building on court and off.
Well, honestly, it hasn't really been a problem at all because we have a group of freshmen, including John, who just want to come in and learn and get better. And anytime you have teammates with high character who just want to get better and have great qualities and traits that make them great teammates, it adds on to our team and makes us that much better. So it really hasn't been any problems, and it's really been smooth.
Yeah, like Daniel said, the 5 freshmen came in. We all wanted to learn. We all willing to listen to what the older guys say. We willing to do whatever it takes. So we came in with open ears and ready to learn. That's what we've been doing. So it hasn't been a problem. We hang out on and off the court. So on the court is like we're brothers. Off the court is like we're brothers.
Anything else for either of the players? Scott, let me get a microphone back to you. Sorry. You good?
For all 3, and we can go left to right if you want to. Start with Daniel. With the early season trip, and you had some games under your belt, can you see that that's paying off yet for this team gelling, or is that something that'll pay off in January, February, or whatever?
Absolutely. It starts paying off right now. Anytime you have an opportunity to get 3 games in a foreign country, that just starts. You start gelling together as a team and getting closer as a team. So I believe those 3 games are going to help us starting now.
I feel like they helped us a lot also. Anytime you can get a film on each other and on the team and break it down and just see what you can do better the next time, it always brings us together. So those 3 games, we had film on all 3 of them, so we broke them down, and after every game, we just come together more and more.
Yeah, like they said, the Canadian trip, it helped us a lot. It helped us to know one another better. So I feel like what we're doing now is we're heading in the positive direction.